Something feels a little different around here.
The scariest thing that could have happened on Halloween did. We're in 4K, so you have to see us in all our glory.
Look closely. This is us.
We've been this ugly the whole time. You had no idea.
But now it's in 4K, baby. 4,000 G's worth of pixels.
Every
just
minute
for you.
is 4,000 gigabytes.
That's crazy.
That's
I can't
how it
even
works.
count that.
Can't count that high.
But now we're here to talk to you about a movie.
Is it our favorite time of the year or just mine, Avery? I know you're a bit of a Halloween
I'm there.
Scrooge.
You
All right.
got me. You got me.
I've tricked you into liking Halloween.
Our favorite time of the year here around the green corner.
Not only do we love Halloween and love horror, we've kind of built our entire channel on the back of found footage. We started with Hell House. A lot of you folks here are only here because of Hell House are asking when we're going to do our next Hell House video. It's complicated, but we love found footage.
They got their lawyers after us, the whole thing.
The Hell House lawyers are all over us. But we watched Grave Encounters.
Watched Hell House 2. Patreon
We watched
exclusive.
Hell House 2 on Patreon. You can check that out. We watched Lake Mungo.
Yeah, we watched, most relevantly, Late Night with the Devil.
Yes, for
Which,
tonight.
as it turns out, kind of a remake of this movie.
Yeah, we're going way back. You know, some people might say the Blair Witch Project is the first found footage movie, and I don't think...
Wrong!
You're wrong. I don't think it's a crazy statement. I think the Blair Witch Project is the first found footage movie that became popular, that looks and sounds like found footage movies are today. Like, Hell House and Grave Encounters are much more similar to Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Going earlier, all the way back to 1992, so 7 years before Blair Witch, a little movie came out called Ghostwatch. The movie we're going to be watching tonight. A lot of you have recommended this in the comments, particularly on Late Night with the Devil for reasons that should be very obvious very soon. Lake Mungo, I got a bunch of comments as well. And I have seen this. I think I've watched this every Halloween since it came out. This is new to you. It's been on your list for a little bit. So this movie does demand an introduction because it's really weird. And it is... You need some context going into this, so would you explain to the good folks at home what the heck Ghostwatch is, Avery?
So Ghostwatch was a program where they went out and got 4 real British TV presenters.
Yeah.
Michael Parkinson, Parky they call him, who's like a big talk show host, kind of a Graham Norton type. And then they got Sarah Green, who I've heard compared to British Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
Where she's like a children's public TV person. And then they got Smitty, who I assume is her real husband, who's like a studio
Smith?
yeah, something Smith, Michael Smith, who's like another TV presenter guy, and then Craig, who's their just kind of like wacky on the street, very like MTV reporter. These were real reporters that were actually that made a career in British
BBC
television.
personalities, yeah.
That went and filmed this movie about a haunted house in a little suburb in the UK, and put it on TV and didn't really tell anyone. And that it was a movie until the kind of credits roll.
Yeah.
And this caused like mass panic, was banned for like 10 years from British Airways, and they got all kinds of calls and freakouts, and because this it just becomes a supernatural found footage horror situation.
For all intents and purposes, you think you are watching the nightly, or the, not nightly news, but the Halloween
Like a special, like a 60 Minutes episode.
BBC One's Ghostwatch, where
Yeah.
we're going to go investigate a paranormal thing as a cute thing on Halloween night, watch with your kids, make some popcorn.
The program you're about to watch is a unique live investigation of the supernatural. It contains material which some viewers may find to be disturbing.
But it was all scripted, and it is the first found footage horror movie. And if you didn't know that this was scripted and you turned in halfway, in a pre-internet world, you probably would have a huge freak out, which happened. So this is a really fascinating movie because it's an interesting movie just to watch as a movie, but it's also a very important piece of horror history. Like the Blair Witch Project creators said they watched this and it was, a massive inspiration to them making the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
Safe to say you wouldn't have found footage, or at least found footage the same way we do today if this movie didn't exist. This is the granddaddy of all things found footage. And we're going back to study it for you fine folks at home.
Tonight, television is going ghost hunting in an unprecedented scientific experiment where I hope to show you, for the first time, irrefutable proof that ghosts really do exist.
Basically, we learned about this from our YouTube comments, but I really enjoyed the hell out of this. I gotta say,
Nice.
like Thought it was a ton of fun. Obviously, going in, I know it's a movie. I came in with that expectation. So mostly...
Smart guy.
I know. Especially on the first watch, I really consider this as a movie, right? I'm watching this as a found footage horror movie, and it's honestly was tough on the first watch for me to really be thinking about what it would have been like to watch this on TV. I'm thinking about that a lot more now, and I think I would on a rewatch, and I'm sure that's kind of a very interesting angle to take. For me, though, just as a horror movie where you're watching people I've never heard of play very convincing characters going into a haunted house, I thought this was great. I mean, it's not like the greatest horror movie I've ever seen just on those merits, but it's really tight. It's well paced. There's the worst thing I could say about this movie would still be like quite good.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's just really solidly made. It does a shocking amount of things right within found footage for having like invented the genre. Like it somehow didn't fall into the pitfalls that a lot of early found. I guess part of that might be like a lot of found footage stuff is just by virtue of it being cheap to make now. Whereas I'm sure this wasn't super expensive, but like that wasn't the thing of it.
Yeah, that's not why they did it.
So yeah, just overall, I mean, I had an awesome time watching this. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was very cool.
That makes me very happy. It doesn't surprise me because we both liked Late Night with the Devil, but I think a big thing we both asked for was like, we wanted more authenticity. We wanted it to feel more like a real broadcast. And if you left Late Night with the Devil like that, this is it. They literally already did it.
Yeah, we can talk about like hard versus soft found footage of like how much they're committing to like this is the hardest found footage you could possibly go. They never acknowledge anything. There's never a fourth wall break. The camera never does anything. Like this is fully just a television special start to finish.
Like maybe 1% of this shows the true color of it, and only in like little things that if I'm really nitpicking. Like if you kind of are just watching this casually, there's really no indication this is not real.
Even now, like if I put this on for my parents, they would get to probably an hour 20 before they'd be like, is this a movie?
Yeah. More so than current found footage, which is...
Well, I don't think what current found footage is trying to do.
No, and I guess that's a big thing, right? Like, no one has ever done this again because you can't really do this twice. It was kind of a prank.
I mean, like War of the Worlds happened in the 30s, right? And that's the famous, obviously, we know very little about that other than fourth-hand internet comments. But yeah, I think it's just a lot tougher to do now with the internet and like the way marketing for movies works. I think like you can't really sneak a movie in anymore without telling anyone you're making it or
or you'd immediately Google, is this fake? And be like, here's the writing credit and all this stuff. But they didn't know that. Didn't work. Part of the mass freak out when this happened, I was reading about, is they had there's the phone number up on the screen for you to call in if you're experiencing ghost stuff. Yeah. And it was a real number. And if you got through to them, they would say, hey, the show's fake. Don't panic. If you have any ghost stories, share them with us, and maybe we'll show them on the show or whatever. But they only had 5 phone operators, so most people across the UK were calling in and getting a busy tone, which just amplified the confusion and freaking out.
Because that's like accurate to what's going on in the studio in the movie.
Yeah, everything starts shutting down.
The phones are freaking out.
Losing connection. So, beautiful, not accident, like lightning in a bottle. Because then this, got banned in the UK and they had to apologize and they got in a bunch of trouble which is fantastic.
But a very cool watch now, one that we definitely recommend you check out and come along with us on this little deep dive we're going to do.
Let's watch some ghosts. We get right into it with our friend, Parky? Michael Parkinson, Parky. He gives us our little intro. Pitch perfect. You couldn't pick a better host than this guy to be the British night program host guy. He even has the mannerisms down to like kind of being frustrated, kind of sometimes seemingly he doesn't want to be there.
No creaking gates, no Gothic towers, no shutter windows. Yet for the past 10 months, this house has been the focus of an astonishing barrage of supernatural activity.
He's very boomery in the way that he's just kind of like doesn't have time for some things and just brushes off things he doesn't understand. But like, also, he works very hard to seem impartial throughout it. Like he's very focused on
neutral.
Neutral.
Unbiased.
Unbiased and like bringing in opposing opinions and kind of trying to be respectful in this way that feels very like nostalgic old TV. Like no one's tried to be like this on TV in 30 years. Especially in like North America.
I'm joined in the studio by Dr. Lynn Pascoe to give her expert technical advice. Throughout the programme, I'll be taking other expert opinion about the supernatural from both here and America.
But it's great. Like he really contributes to the
He is
the
funny
atmosphere.
accidentally
Yeah.
because every time anyone brings anything up to him, he says, "We'll get to that later in the program." Or he kind of seems like he wants everyone to shut up all the time. He's like, "All right, relax. We'll get back to that."
Yeah.
Even if he's just introduced them
So
to speak.
British.
I know.
It makes me so angry when you still get people out there denying that these things even happen.
All right, Dr. Pascoe, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry to have to cut you off there. In fact, I've just heard that we've got to go back to Sarah. Well, if you'd stay in the studio there, we'll come back to you in just a moment. One or two other things to talk about first of all. Thanks a lot.
I'm hopeful, though.
All right, yes, we're all hopeful. Let's take a phone call. Well, Max Smith, what do you got for us?
My favorite part of him is how every sentence just goes on like 8 or 10 words too long. Like there's only this, whereas you expect him to just trail off. He's like, let's go get that clip. And you're like, okay, you finished your sentence. He's let's go and get that clip and see if we can roll it out in here and put it on the TV and show it to the people who want to see it. Like he just keeps going.
Yep. We don't have time for the person to elaborate. We have time for him to say a million extra words. It's fantastic.
Sylvester, for the moment, thank you very much indeed. I hope you'll stay with us in our studio in New York. Keep an eye on what's happening here and from time to time give us a comment on proceedings. Thanks for joining us.
We're introduced to kind of the first week we were on the set, the set back at BBC Studios, and it's this beautifully 90s set. They have the call center, the big screen for the call-ins. They got the classic setup with the 2 chairs. I also have to call out whoever was on set design for this, the fireplace with the portrait of a ghost above it being like prominently featured is fantastic.
I don't even know if this was a set. This might have been just really where he had his show.
No, I did read like they built, and even like the kind of black and white smeared tapestries everywhere, that was like, they built that for this to be like a spooky thing. So they put a lot of time and effort into the studio set. And then we go to the street, like the actual crew going to the house. And there's a great kind of like cheesy montage of the BBC One crew getting in the car and getting out as if it's like they're action heroes. But yeah, there's a lot of different people on the street because there's Craig, who's kind of more there to like interview people outside the house and neighbors and get other opinions on stuff. There's Sarah and crew when she goes in the house with a smaller camera crew and is actually with the family, the mother and the daughters. There's like stationary cameras up around the house. There's the ponytail guy in like a creepy van that's doing infrared.
He's like the skeptic, or sorry, not the skeptic. He's like the believer. He's part of the Society of Paranormal, and like also an engineer. And he's talking about some of the equipment they're going to use. They do the scene which has now become kind of standard, where they show the infrared camera. Where they're just like walking around waving at all the people, and
used very well later.
Yeah,
we'll
it is.
Come back to that.
I suppose this is probably a good time to talk about it because this is where I noticed the first one, and where I think there were certainly more. I think apparently there are just so many hidden ghosts throughout this movie.
Lots of hidden ghosts. The creator says they haven't even all been found yet. Like there's ones that no one has mentioned online that he put in, so there's more to be discovered. But.
I think like there's this scene where they're panning around. There's like a little crowd, like 20 people assembled outside the house, and I noticed a little ways into the movie, because at this point I was looking for ghosts. I was like, I'm certain there's something. I didn't know anything about this movie, and I knew enough to know like something's in here.
Yeah.
There's a little kid who's dressed up like what you see in A Few Minutes as one of the drawings of the ghosts, and like this weird red and white outfit. And I can't tell if it's just like a neighborhood kid who's seen the drawing and is in costume, because he's kind of standing in a weird way. I don't know. Honestly don't know.
Later they say no one heard the description of the ghost.
Okay,
which is why, like, it was never released in writing. So I don't think it would be that. I think it maybe is a hidden ghost.
Maybe we'll find out. Let's see here. And then when the infrared camera's spinning around, I didn't catch it, but they show the crowd, they turn the lights off, and then they go around with the infrared camera. I bet 6 months' salary that there's like 3 new people in the crowd.
For sure.
It wasn't, they maybe didn't execute it right for me to actually catch that.
Yeah. Or maybe it's like, I kind of like some of this is left to the subconscious. Like, I caught more hidden ghosts this viewing than I have on any past viewings, but I know I still missed some.
Oh, for sure.
And that just adds to the horror at like a base level for the whole experience.
And part of it is a credit to the atmosphere this movie kind of creates, is how often I looked, found nothing, but still enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I'm like ready for a spooking, and it's like, no, they're not doing it here, but when are they doing
reward
it?
you enough that you feel like it's worthwhile. Like there's enough things you're guaranteed to see if you're paying attention that scanning the screen is constantly like worth it. Like it makes the viewer feel like there's a payoff for that.
Once more into the breach. Do I have to go first?
After you.
Yeah, typical. Come on then, chaps. Hello?
Kind of go into the house at this point. Sarah interviews the family, interviews the mom.
Yeah, it's like a single mom and 2 daughters who have been getting spooked and haunted for a while. We saw like an old clip of the 2 girls in bed,
Right.
where there's spooky stuff happens. There's like noises and stuff falls down and they scream. It's nothing super explicitly supernatural. And then we like interview the mom here and kind of get to know the family a bit.
And she's very good. The daughters are good. And I'd say any of the awkwardness in acting just lends to the legitimacy, because like the kids aren't perfect, but like kids are awkward on camera on the news. So it never felt fake. It never felt like, acting kids or by any means.
Kim, how do you know he lives down there?
Because I saw him through the crack. He was there. He was staring at me.
I thought the mom was excellent.
Yeah.
There's kind of, we're jumping around a little bit. There's a couple scenes through here where they're kind of interviewing the mom and kind of talking about her. And I loved her performance. I thought she was so believable. It was a lot of what we gassed up about Lake Mungo was how believable and real all the people felt in these interviews. And I kind of got the exact same feeling from the mom here, from Pam. Like, I thought she was great.
Yeah, there's an interview where she explicitly talks about a haunting experience she had, where
She gets locked in the glory
in
hole.
the glory hole. Apparently, that's what they called it in the UK when you live in when you go to the Harry Potter room under the stairs. They called it the glory hole, so you can have your laughs.
They say that with a straight face in tense moments, like a bunch.
My ex-husband, used to develop his own photos in a dark room under the stairs. The glory hole, as we used to call it when I was a kid.
But she has an experience as a haunting in the glory hole, where the ghost kind of like is actually almost violent with her, and she gets like knocked down, and then she feels breathing, and it's a very, I noted one of the best moments of acting in the whole thing. Like,
Definitely.
It was terrifying to hear her describe this experience.
When I was in there, I swear as God's my witness, I felt this man in there with me.
And she does a good job of, she's not like a crazy like spiritualist woman.
Yeah.
She's like a professional adult.
Yeah.
It's just like, I just want my kids to be safe.
She's not like
I
making
just want
dream
this to be over.
catchers, and
Yeah.
she's just a working mom. She doesn't want her house to be haunted. Like she would love if this was not going on, and it doesn't feel like she's desperate for attention by any means. She just like wants it to stop.
So many things have happened. You start thinking, I don't know, maybe you've done something wrong.
But she still is having these moments, like she's breaking down and like getting choked up and telling these stories, and it's so well executed. And it's funny because you have these very real, like literally real British reporters who will like break the interview to be like, oh, like Pam, go sit down, don't finish your story, like you're not okay, and like Parky back in the studio will be like, yeah, that's enough for her.
We'll come back to that later.
Let's go for the moment. Thank you very much indeed.
And in a way that just really lends itself to I think her more than almost any character in the movie I'd buy as like, this seems like a real mom getting haunted would.
Yeah, I agree.
And when I got out, my head went, my knees.
Pam, let's go sit down. Come on.
They show some footage. It's not live. It's earlier footage of the girls in the bedroom sleeping.
Yeah.
And it's just a footage of the bedroom, and there's supposedly nothing in it when we first see it. But then one of the callers into Parky says, like, that footage you showed earlier, I think I saw a figure up against the wall in the room.
Such a cool little...
And then you're like, oh, that's creepy.
Well, I know it was dark, but I was sure I could see a figure standing behind against the wall, just by the curtain.
Yeah.
Because they can't even pull up the footage immediately because it's 1992. So they're like, we'll have to go get the footage. We'll come back to it.
I'll tell you what we'll do. While we search for that piece of tape, let's find out what Sarah's up to.
But when they come back to it...
Which is like 10, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like because obviously when they're showing, like, this is the clip that started all the controversy, like, anyone, me included, is looking at this going, where's the ghost? Where's the ghost?
Yeah.
I didn't see anything. Like, I was looking, I didn't see anything. And then they get this call and you're like, what the hell? I missed it. Like, it's...
Yeah. So they show it a second time then as, like, reviewing it.
Now, this is the point where Emma Stapleford, our caller, said she could identify that dark, mysterious figure in the corner of the room.
And there's something behind the curtain, and it's not, like, explicit.
Okay.
I saw something, like
I didn't catch it either time, but...
And it's not obvious. Again, you're kind of like, is it a trick of the light? But it's like, I can see what they're talking about. There's something there. And then they're like, let's play it one more time. And then I didn't see it that time. So you didn't see it at all.
I didn't see it any of the times.
Yeah, so the trick here, and you didn't research any of this, I assume.
No, I deliberately didn't look at any of those.
So sorry to spoil this for anyone at home, because this is a great scare kind of until you know this. They actually shot it 3 different ways. So the first time, there's nothing. The second time, there is a figure, at least something behind the curtain. And then the third time, I think they do something even different, where there's like light, but there's no figure. So they're all different videos, and they present it as one, which is brilliant.
That's it's so clever.
And to be doing that in your first found footage movie.
First found footage movie.
It's like, that feels like a trick you get to in the fourth one. Like, that they were doing that in this is just brilliant, and I can't imagine watching this live on TV and being like, I saw something too! And then you're like, come look, they're showing it again and it's gone.
That's
like,
crazy.
It would have added so much to that public craziness that was going on.
Human perception is such that the first thing you attempt to create in any abstract shape is a human face or form.
Okay. All right, then.
We had a fun little moment I actually wanted to talk about where Craig, the reporter, pranks Sarah. He's like hiding in the cabinet with a mask.
It's coming from in.
And this is just like a silly little, it's like a little jump scare, it's earned, it's not dumb, but one thing I really liked about this is that, and I want to credit Sarah's performance here, they did a cool thing here, which again, I don't know how they pulled off, where real tension kind of breaks through. Because these are just 2 reporters, right? Sarah is very earnest, she's trying to like be with the girls, she's trying to get the real story, and then Craig jumps out and he's like, ah!
Yeah, with a monster mask.
And she's like obviously really annoyed and scared, but holding it together for the camera.
Yeah.
And for the fact that this was like the first found footage movie and she's like not an actress, that I got all of that out of it. It was her like, just this very subtle little moment of her trying not to break and being like, okay, Craig, that's very funny. Like, and it was great. I loved this scene. I thought it was such a cool, tiny little bit of character building.
And these are the moments that we credit a lot in these later found footage films we've watched, like when Lance in Grave Encounters kind of starts to have moments of genuineness mixed with his onstage performance.
Yeah.
When you get that contrast, it really shows like the things are going, like the horror gets amplified, because you're like, I know what they're like when they're on. So seeing them slip into genuine is scary because I know something's not right. Like even they're kind of starting to doubt what's happening, and Paul does a very good job with this in Hell House, and everyone in Lake Mungo does it.
Yeah.
But it's just, she does a great job of that, and because so much of this is so British, there's not a lot of slippages like that. Most people, like Parky's just locked in for 99% of it.
And there's no like backstage footage, right? Like Late Night with the Devil and Grave Encounters both had like, we cut the cameras and now we're like, guys, what the hell was that? I'm like, that's fine for those films, but this has none of that.
She has to do all of it on camera, on supposedly live TV, but make it feel genuine, and she did a fantastic job with that.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed earlier my watch had stopped.
Really?
Yeah.
What time? When?
Just before we went on air.
So part of the video and part of like what's going on, the main thing going on with the haunting is that there's like this loud whacking noise, and whenever the girls ask the mom what it is, she's, oh, that must just be the pipes.
Old pipes, old house, yeah.
And so the girls have named the ghost Pipes.
Yes.
Well, I didn't know what to say. They were that terrified. So I said it was pipes. No, it's central heating. So afterwards, whenever Kim heard something, she'd say, it's pipes. Pipes is here.
But Pipes is scary, and this is kind of getting into the reveals about Pipes happen throughout the film. But we can kind of bring them up now. Like, you learn this house has a violent history. You learn later that someone subletted a room that was like a convicted child that had been let out when they shouldn't have and did some unsavory stuff.
I worked as a social worker when he came out of psychiatric hospital. He should never have been let anywhere near any community. He was a very disturbed man, in my opinion.
And Pipes in general, like, he's violent. Like, as the film goes on, it's clear from the stories and from stuff we get into, it's not like a Victorian era child ghost who wants to, finish unfinished business. It's like a violent man who wants to hurt people and is like purely evil. Which is very scary, and it's something that horror movies struggle with, is ghosts aren't inherently scary. So how do you make a ghost scary? It's like making him violent, evil.
It's like the ghost of a guy who would have been scary if he wasn't a ghost.
That's a great way to put it. On the news, it just all lends to the sense of like, I feel like the kids should like leave the house. Like, it doesn't feel safe. It's not like fun and cute, which amps up the horror so much.
I liked how little they give you about Pipes. I thought they did again, this is another thing that they did so masterfully for how early this was. It's kind of like the shark from Jaws, where you see like very little, right? There's no Bagul scene. You're not like, he's not in frame explaining all of his powers, and like this is basically most of what you get for the whole, like what Reid just described is basically all you get over like an hour and a half.
Unless you're very attentive. And I'll point out a few times we see Pipes, but because it's very obscured.
Yeah.
But
it's really dripped out.
Very subtle.
You know just enough to fill in the blanks yourself and be very scared on behalf of these kids.
Yeah.
Why? Do you think Mr. Pipes has come to hurt you?
I think he's come to hurt everybody. I think he wants to do nasty things.
We cut back to the studio after some of this. They do really great blocking in the studio because they have the call center.
Mm-hmm.
They have obviously all the stuff going on in the house, but it's not like the two hosts back in the studio are just in the chairs. They move around the space, which keeps it exciting. It sounds basic, but if you're not thinking, you'd be like, our hosts just sit in these chairs and talk the whole time. But they don't. They do this nice, they get up, they walk across the studio talking on the way. They stand by an old creepy tape recorder thing with a spotlight on it. Just nice. They use the space very well. It makes it feel fresh, and every time the movie feels like maybe it's losing steam, they either cut to a different studio or the people you're with do something very different, and it makes it feel very kinetic, very news-like, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it really adds to the pacing, and because nothing really too supernatural happens for like the first hour, but they do a great job of like every minute and a half they're going back to, now we're on Craig, now we're on Sarah, now
take
we're on
a
the
caller.
mom, now take a caller. And it does feel, the word I'll keep using is organic, where when they're getting up and moving over the TV, it's like it feels like what's happening on a real TV program, and it's really adding to the mood of the whole thing.
Now that's when we would hear the voice.
The voice. Well, we should hear the voice actually. Let's.
Dr. Lynn, she has this recording from when she had the family at her university doing studies, where the older daughter Suzanne was being basically possessed and speaking with a voice that they presume is the ghost. This was very effective, especially because it's audio only and the audio quality is kind of bad.
Yeah.
Hearing the voice through the daughter is very disturbing because you also don't even know what they're saying. Like, you can barely understand the words. And what I really like is how they do try to, like you said, be unbiased and like disprove these things, because her immediate reaction isn't like, isn't that spooky? She says, we tried to have the daughter recreate it, or just like do the voice after this experience, and she couldn't. Like, her voice can't go that low.
Forensic scientists at Cambridge examined the voice recording and compared it to Suzanne's normal speech pattern, and they defined it as the voices of two separate people.
Two people, yeah.
And
so they're like trying to, as best as possible, scientifically prove why this is notable, not just go for shock value.
It's the same thing that makes the middle hour of Hell House so compelling, which is that, I mean, okay, start not supernatural, end definitely supernatural. But this middle hour, there's like 5 or 6 incidents that if you were, like, as a movie watcher, you're like, that's a supernatural thing. But you kind of get why the characters aren't quite there. And the movie's kind of daring you to be like, okay, like this girl just talked in way too deep a voice. They said that something was in her mouth and she shouldn't have been able to talk at all. And there were scientists around, but like, you're not seeing the footage. So you're like,
it's not concrete.
Was it faked? Was it, but like, how did they, and then it just kind of moves on, and there's so many of these little moments where you're just like, okay, and it's really starting to sow those seeds of doubt that would have been, I would love to have experienced this thinking it was a real program.
Yeah.
And be like, how did they do this?
Yeah.
It's bizarre. And chilling too.
Did you see the ghost? The hidden ghost here?
No.
So behind Dr. Lynn Pascal, the second time it cuts to her, there is fully a hooded figure just behind her.
Really?
That actually appears, and it looks like kind of weird light on the curtain, but it's definitely supposed to be Pipes. And I had to rewind, and I had never seen this one before, so I'll play it here. This was incredibly disturbing because it's also right when the voice is like the loudest.
Oh, I was so locked in on the tape recorder. That's
very,
this guy.
Very effective.
It's like a dang Where's Waldo.
What other evidence do we have, Doctor?
Well, we bring in a new character who, the skeptic.
Yeah, they call in from New York guy.
And what was your thought about this guy? I want to know if we had the same thought.
Well, did you recognize him? Or
no. He's doing a Jeff Goldblum impression.
Is he?
Play any clip of him. And this is like 6 years after The Fly, when Goldblum like had a career. But the way he talks, he is exactly doing a Jeff Goldblum impression, and it's really weird.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious. There's nothing on the tape that couldn't be faked. The bedroom footage is totally inconclusive. It could all be done with wires for all we know.
They tuck in the kids back at the house, which I thought was strange because the mom isn't in the house anymore. They take the mom out to the call-in truck.
Yeah, she's like off away from the family, which is mostly just like narrative.
She takes some calls and does some stuff. But
she's like talking to the kids like over the TV.
She's on the TV.
Mum!
Hello, love. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Are you all right?
Yes.
This is a hard movie to summarize because they're literally...
Every minute and a half, they cut between a new one of these characters.
Caller, and there's scenes where nothing happens, which adds to the legitimacy, but there's nothing really to summarize. So we're kind of jumping around a lot here. But the next thing I had in my notes was that they interview... People are calling in with ghost stories.
Right.
And there's the blurred face guy. And apparently all those call-ins were real. Like, just civilians that submitted tapes to the BBC. So they're like real... I mean... I don't know that the experiences are real, but it's people telling real stories and they collected them and just aired them as part of the show. But this one was the weird one because he explicitly states that his supernatural experience is that him and his wife found saliva on their mackerel.
Yeah.
We both looked down, this is my half-sister again and me, and saw what looked like saliva all over the mackerel.
They're eating fish and then
very David Lynch thing to have happen.
Saliva appears on the fish.
Of course, we couldn't eat it.
And I was just thinking, like, if I was eating fish, I don't know that I would know that it's spit.
Well, then he says on his doorstep.
Shortly after that, I found, again, what looked like saliva on the front doorstep.
And then on his shoes. He gets spit on his shoes.
And immediately, again, what looked like spit appeared on my shoes.
It's like they could have, it feels like they maybe, like there was a studio, like he said, like, oh, well, we can't say there was like shit on the mackerel.
He does later. He says there's a poop smear in the house.
He did say that. You're right.
So there's poop, smear, and saliva.
We found excrement smeared on a cupboard door in the bathroom.
Really weird. This is just a weird guy.
This guy just drooled on his fish and then had to save face. So we called the BBC and said it was a ghost because he couldn't explain it to anyone else.
This is the first time we actually found anything smeared like that on the door, so it had to be cleared up, and it was really horrible.
But it contributes to kind of the organic feeling that it's not just like directly escalating calls, because they do like 5 or 6 audience calls.
Yeah.
And some of them are just like dumb and weird. Like the one a little bit later is when some guy just says like a plate fell off his table, and Parky's immediately just like, all right, well,
it was a prank caller.
We're bound to get some jokes in here. Please be serious when you call us, and they move on.
Yes. All right, Kevin. I think we've had enough. I think I get the picture, certainly. Thank you very much indeed for calling.
I'd say that that's a theme for the whole movie, is that they don't just escalate the tension.
No.
The pipe stuff and the caller saying they saw something on the wall was very early and very scary. And then there's a lot of nothing happening. Like after this, they do more street interviews. He goes out and is interviewing people on the street and there's nothing scary.
Well, there was isn't this where he hears about the dead dog? Which isn't like inherently supernatural, but like...
Oh yeah, and the puppies were spread around the neighborhood.
So...
That's true.
It's not like explicitly supernatural, but like it's sort of what you get to, and what a lot of these kind of side things are contributing to is like things are going wrong around the neighborhood.
Yeah, not just in the house.
And it's kind of like daring you to pick any one and be like, that's impossible, right? Like that's definitely a ghost. And this one, Craig's interviewing, and Craig's like the crazy MTV guy, right? And he's interviewing this just like old lady who's talking about finding like an eviscerated pregnant dog.
Well, it was pregnant. There were fetuses scattered all over. The kids weren't late for weeks.
I should imagine not.
And he's like trying to be like, okay.
So as you can see, this is a pretty sinister place. Now I'm going to try and find the guy who tried unsuccessfully to exorcise Fox Hill Drive.
And I think in rewatching it, I would get it more, but like looking back, it's very much supposed to be what it would really be like if like this neighborhood was having a supernatural event, and what it's like talking to each individual person and like building the picture. How it's not framed for escalating tension. It's just like a bunch of things that we don't know what they mean.
And they're not in any particular order.
And each one of them is like disprovable.
I had this overwhelming sense of evil, of spiritual decay is the only way I can describe it as. Yet I was physically sick for a week. I smelt blood on my hands.
I think this part gets interrupted because Sarah's like, there's been a development at the house.
I'm sorry to have to cut you off there. In fact, I've just heard that we've got to go back to Sarah Sarah's got something important for us. Sarah?
And they find like a pool of water on
Yeah.
the rug, which I guess they mentioned later is like supposed to be a poltergeist thing. Like specifically in poltergeist research, water, it's like first there's sounds, then there's water, and then there's visual apparitions is comes next. That's what the expert tells us.
First there are the noises, the sounds, and then water. And then the third stage is physical phenomena, moving objects.
This was the first one that it's like, this is definitely supernatural. And like, it's not, like, because it's a perfectly round, like, wet spot in a carpet that couldn't have come from, it's like, and they even say, it's like, this is too round. Like, if you poured this with a jug, you couldn't make it this round.
And they check the ceiling for leaks.
And they check, like, the water content. They're trying to figure out if they can match it up. Like, they're approaching it very how you would.
Well, we'll test it to see if the calcium and the magnesium salts match the hardness of the local tap water.
And where does it come from?
Don't know.
The house starts getting, this is where the noises really get bad, right?
Yeah,
Like
here's where you kind
banging.
of think it's like that we're done. Like now we're going full ghosts are gonna chase them around because it gets really loud, and then there's a cat outside. Like drawings are showing up. It's like
slamming like the pipes. The
the
pipes are
pipes
making
is the main
pipes
thing. That
noise.
it's like all this really loud noise.
Sarah, stay where you are, please. Sarah, stay there, please. Don't go upstairs.
Ending in a revelation that it's actually one of the daughters. The older daughter is snuck out of the bedroom and is slamming the pipes with like a toy and making all the noise, and she's done other stuff around the house, but not all of it.
Yeah.
So this is one of the most fascinating points in the program because like it goes back to the studio after it's been revealed the daughter's been doing some of the stuff, and Parky is very quick to just be like, okay,
That's
so
a shame. It's all fake.
it's all a fake. Too bad this program wasn't worth it. We're probably gonna shut the camera. Like he's like so ready to be like, this was all a hoax.
Very sadly, what we witnessed was a remarkable exposure of a hoax.
Let's not be too hasty.
Oh, come on, Doctor, please. We surely got to accept
No,
we
I
saw
don't.
it there.
Look, this is an established pattern.
And the expert is like, I'm not so sure.
Genuine phenomena followed by the fakery stage when the children feel obliged to come up with the goods.
Doctor, really?
I'm sorry, because...
And the mom is like, I understand that she faked what just happened, but that doesn't explain everything, and it doesn't explain my experience.
Well, she's afraid. She's frightened. She doesn't
But
know
Suzanne
anything.
herself
Feel her.
explained, Mrs. Early.
My family are telling the truth. We're all telling the truth.
This is a kid that wants attention, and also that wants to make sure there is evidence of the ghost while you're here, because they know the ghost is actually real. They don't want you to leave.
It's a very real kid thing, and like when they confront her, she like starts crying. Like I know what you guys wanted to see it. I just wanted to give you guys what you wanted, like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and
believable.
which is real and doesn't conflict with there actually being a haunting.
And plus, like, she didn't do the water.
Right.
Like, we don't address the other, we just assume, okay, the kid's faking stuff, everything must be fake, but there's all these question marks of like, wait, but what about that thing and that thing?
It was what you wanted, wasn't it? We just gave you what you wanted. Stop it!
We cut back to the studio, they do another ghost story with a public caller. She starts telling her story, and then the camera dies. It like slow motions.
Which made the situation worse in a way because...
This is one of the biggest scares for me in the movie, even though it was really nothing, because it felt very genuinely like something actually went wrong, because it slows down, and then it awkwardly cuts back to the studio, and there's like a tech guy in the shot, and they're like, clear the set, we're live, and it felt so real. I don't know, I'll just show it, but it's just something about it was like, it would be hard to stage this.
Can we just clear the set? Yeah, well, something's gone very wrong with that ghost story.
I felt very similarly about the scene where they're going for, like, trying to figure out where the pipes are coming from. And Sarah, who's like walking around the house, is like yelling at them to cut between the different cameras. Like, no, show that one. No, not that one. Not that one. Show that. It's another thing that it's like hard to contextualize. Like, it's, again, organic is the word I want to use.
Can we cut to the hall camera? No, sorry, the landing camera. No, the landing on the door, the other landing. That's it, and zoom in.
Then we kind of circle back around and we get real spooky. Susie is scratched up again, right?
Yeah, her face gets scratched like live.
Yeah. And they're like, she must have done it to herself, and then they like put her fingers on camera, like there's no fingernails, there's no blood. Like,
she's also like kind of dissociating.
Yeah.
Like she's catatonic on her bed, and this was one of the most tense scenes because it gets into like the mom arguing with Sarah, and like get out of the room.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter needs help.
Get away from... No, Mum, they have to stay. They have to see everything.
Sarah, it's all right. Don't worry.
I think right in here somewhere is where we get the whip pan where there's like definitely a ghost.
Oh, when they leave the room?
Yeah. And
yeah, I think it's a little later, but that is probably the scariest moment in the movie. One of them for me.
Where are we going?
Just outside.
Where are we going?
Come on. Downstairs. Just outside. Pushing me like a boy.
Yourself, you know. No, I don't want to go.
There's lots of good scares here. Sarah goes to the bathroom to catch her breath and feels like breath in her ear and says she saw someone behind the door.
Oh, God.
What is it?
Behind the door. I saw somebody standing behind the door.
Parky says that like they're getting calls from everywhere. Like the operators are like freaking out. Like spooky stuff's happening all around the neighborhood. Suzanne is actually possessed, doing the voice again.
This is the 1%. This wasn't great.
Like it?
It was okay. Like it could have been much, much worse. And I would say that it was better than like the Late Night with the Devil possession, I think. But it was still, there was some element of like, it worked much better as audio only.
Susie.
Stop it! Stop it, Susie!
And there was another one around here that didn't work great for me, which is the cats. When the haunting stuff starts to get really bad, they note that they like, there's all these like you can hear cats, and apparently the ghost.
It's like part of it, the guy who died like trapped a bunch of cats in with him.
And they died, so you can hear the cats.
Oh. What's that noise?
The cat audio also didn't sound good. Like it sounded.
It's just kind of like canned. It's like looped audio.
Yeah,
and
like, you can tell it's piped direct. It's not like ambient. You can tell it's like directly in.
The way the characters react feels very organic, and like they're trying to track it throughout the house. But like if you actually listen to it, it's that like it sounds like someone, when someone throws the brick out the window in the sitcom.
Yeah.
It's like
exactly.
Cat's running around up there in the ceiling.
Can you hear anything,
Yes.
Sarah?
Yeah, I can hear it now. She's right. Mum.
So it wasn't great, but that and the voice, which I didn't love either of them, they're the two weakest scary moments in the thing for me. I was thinking they would have worked on a shitty TV in 1992.
Definitely.
Because you wouldn't hear that it's canned audio, and you wouldn't
we haven't seen enough things.
It would be blurry when the girl's doing the voice. You wouldn't really even be able to see it very. Like these things are worse in 4K on streaming. I want to give them.
Let's go for the moment. Thank you very much indeed.
The next major real scare is they hear something under the stairs. I think cats.
In the glory hole, of course.
In the glory hole.
It's a glory hole.
And they open it, and you do see there is someone standing right there, but we don't actually get to see it because the camera guy who fully saw it from the angle he was from falls unconscious immediately, and we never.
The mirror falls on him, right?
Yeah, something happens.
Mike! Oh my God, what's happened?
There's some little like pictures are jumping off walls, but like the mirror is kind of shaking, and like the cameraman zooms in on it, but the characters haven't noticed.
That's a different shot, but that is also definitely a hidden pipes. You can see pipes in the reflection.
Oh,
but
really? Fuck, I didn't notice.
Yeah, you can see like eyes in the reflecting mirror of the shot you're talking
I
about.
gotta go watch this again like tonight. I missed so much.
The door opening under the basement, right before they turn, you can see like this much of a man standing there. It just these great little subtle things like that.
Just enough.
I think this is also around the part, it might have been earlier and I missed it. They're in the living room at one point, and they have lights on inside, it's pitch black outside, and the sliding glass door, you can see their reflection, and there is an extra person standing in the circle with them. There's the 3 crew people, and there is literally pipes standing in the reflection in the mirror. And I will play the clip, and it was I only noticed it this time, and it was really fucking scary.
Like I was locked in. I was not on my phone here. Obviously, I didn't notice any of this.
I didn't know they had a cat. Did you?
One thing I want to bring up here that was like, I would say this was my least favorite part of the film, was that we get, I guess this is the most exposition we get about pipes.
And he's got a dress on. Yeah. It's all really long and it's black. It's got buttons.
Pipes used to wear dresses.
Yeah.
This little bit, it's short. It doesn't like ruin the movie with exposition, but between those two things, I was like, he was scary before that, and now I'm just kind of uncomfortable.
He used to tell me there was a woman on the inside of his body, taking over his thoughts and actions, making him do things he didn't want to do. He started to wear dresses.
It's a very frustrating trope that happened. It's been going on, I think, since like the 60s.
Yeah.
Is basically transphobia in horror films, where if you want to make someone seem like more of a psycho, make them a cross-dresser, is what they would normally call them, or worse terms. Psycho famously has this, but this is something that was used
Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
all the way throughout 60s and 70s. A lot of giallo films did this, like Michael Caine's Dressed to Kill. It's a very harmful and bad trope, but one that you see. 1992 is a little bit late for it. Disappointing trope. Pipes was scary before we knew that thought he was possessed by a woman. You don't need it.
No.
Future filmmakers, you know better.
But then we get a very interesting thing where the camera cuts.
Because shit's going crazy. This is like, stuff's falling off the walls, people are running around screaming.
But the camera cuts, and then like Parky and the doctor lady are like, hello, what's going on? And then we cut back, the camera turns back on, and we've just got the girls and Sarah are just sitting, eating pizza.
We're back in Fox Hill Drive. Oh, fantastic.
And they're like, okay, well, I guess everything's fine back at the house. Let's take some more calls. And you're like, what? And another great horror trope that isn't even a found footage trope, something I've seen done in a lot of horror movies, this concept of like, the footage we're seeing isn't live.
Mm-hmm.
It almost harkens back to like the calls coming from inside the house feeling of like what we're seeing isn't true. But when they realize that footage is
It's like the doctor who's with Parky, is like he's the one who figures it out.
Well, because they're like, that picture fell off the wall earlier this evening and it's back on the wall. This isn't live.
On the wall. The picture on the wall.
What about the picture on the wall?
It's still there. It hasn't fallen. It's not come off the wall.
What's happening in the house?
This isn't happening now.
But what is happening?
Which creates the final chaos, and then this is where stuff starts really falling apart. Like
you can't even really explain.
They lose the camera call. They go back to interviews outside briefly, and then they're basically the whole production is failing at this point.
It's like getting really windy in the studio. Like Parky's ridiculous hairpiece is like losing it.
And then like the people that are still in the house mostly get evacuated out, but there's still Sarah inside and one of the camera guys. They cut back inside to infrared, which is very well executed.
Yes.
Very scary and analog looking infrared. And again, I didn't see anything. This is the moment in a modern found footage horror film where they go to infrared, they turn, and there's a bagul. They don't see it. They just kind of walk around in the dark with it for a while. The whole time you are terrified.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they don't actually really see anything.
There's like the lighter. Susie like gets Sarah gets she's like, give me your lighter, and she lights it up, and they have it on infrared, and we probably missed something, but I almost hope I didn't, or like I'm glad it was that subtle.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, it was way better just following her around in infrared, like checking stuff, than it would have been with like, the long-faced ghost, and she goes,
And my comments on this whole thing is that it was a very good depiction of a production failing.
Yeah.
Like it felt like a real production failure where like the mics, you're hearing mics from another feed with the wrong video.
It's very disorienting.
It doesn't feel like when something is artificially done like this and it's got like bad glitchy camera, you can tell when it's doctored.
Late Night with the Devil was not great about this, where it didn't look like footage actually failing, and the camera ended up, wow, look at that, it's pointed directly at the main character with perfect audio. Like,
no.
Okay, Susie, we're here. Studio! Where are you?
The whole main studio like explodes. All the lights blow up.
Yeah.
And everyone wanders around. And we're left with a final shot. The final shot of the movie is Parky wandering into frame, kind of looking confused. He's still doing some of the dubbing. He's like, we're still here and the studio's been damaged. And
There's cameras, but I don't know which one's working. I mean, there are no cameramen.
And then he walks up to the camera and he's out of focus and he's framed very creepily because
you can't see his eyes.
It's just his mouth. And he starts like a poem.
He starts speaking in tongues almost.
But I think it's something we heard on the tape earlier. It's really creepy.
Round and round the garden like a teddy bear.
Did you also notice there's a figure behind him?
No, I didn't notice any of the dang figures.
I'm pretty sure, I don't know this one for sure, but I'm fairly confident that right behind him, as he moves at the last second, you can see just a black silhouette is literally right behind him. When I compare it to Late Night with the Devil, I loved it because Late Night with the Devil went too big.
Yeah.
And this was so downplayed. Just the host kind of wandering around, saying some weird poem you can barely hear, cut.
Yeah.
It's like, if I was watching this on live TV, it's like, I'd be like, what the fuck was that?
I get why it caused mass hysteria. Like 92 and like a lot of phone calls.
Boom! I bet that scared you, didn't it?
And that's Ghostwatch.
We watched The Ghosts.
There's ghosts in it. I watched them. I didn't notice them.
Sounds like you got to rewatch immediately.
I got to watch more ghosts.
You missed a lot of stuff.
I'm gonna count all the ghosts. We'll have a ghost scavenger hunt.
All right.
We'll do it with our viewers.
Do it with our viewers. Tell us what ghosts you saw.
Whoever finds the most ghosts, Reid will send you a ghost of your very own.
I'll send you the Green Corner branded ghosts. We have them on Patreon as well. Ghosts from the Green Corner. Real ghosts. Put them in boxes.
I want to give credit. Almost every horror movie I'll talk about, don't over-explain. Boy, did this not over-explain.
No.
This would have gotten so much less scary so fast with more exposition.
Yeah.
And it just was so unnecessary. Ghost, spooky, bad guy, got it.
They almost do give too much, and it's still very little that they give. I think that last interview about him wasn't necessary. Obviously, the transphobic comments aside, I don't think they needed more detail about pipes. But they kept it subtle enough that, like, I certainly, when I stopped watching this, was checking the dark corner of my room for pipes. You know, like I was a little kid, and this made me feel genuine horror. We talk a lot about when we watch a horror movie, was it actually scary? This was actually very scary. Well, 90% of the film is just a news program.
It is, yeah.
And that's insane that they pulled that off.
Yeah, like, whereas I think Lake Mungo, I think, went too far the other way, where not enough of it was scary for me, and I did get a little bit bored. Like, I get why people like it. This, I have a hard time giving any credit to anyone who would say that. Like, this is... If you watch this movie and were bored, I'm like, all right, movies may not be for you.
I likened this film to the Stonehenge. I said, this is the Stonehenge of horror films. Because if you showed someone Stonehenge that didn't know what it was, they'd be like, wow, did you do this? Like, what are all these rocks doing here? It'd be like, it's pretty neat, right? And they're like, yeah, it's neat. Like, well, I like it, but and it's like, those were made by druids 5,000 years ago. That was like one of the first structures on Earth that we still have. You'd be like, what, these? It's like, it's good as a thing, and it's even better with context.
No notes. This is brilliant. So good. So good.
Thank you, Sandra, for your call. Thanks a lot.
I'm going to say that, something that might be a touch controversial here. I'll throw it out there. So, I think it's absolutely spectacular, the level of realism that this achieved. Right? Like, I think, and in the context of when it was showed at the time, the fact that there is, like, never a fourth wall break, they never break character, they never, like, supernatural things happen, but there's no point where they acknowledge that this wasn't a real documentary, and there's nothing to even, like, imply it. I have a ton of respect for that, but if I'm just considering it outside of it airing with unbeknownst to people in the 90s, if I'm just, like, sitting down in front of it at a movie now, I think it kind of... It doesn't hit like any particular threshold for me with that of, whereas I think if I'm just comparing it to other films, I actually missed some of that cinematic language.
Movie stuff?
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying this movie should have been more of a movie, but I think that I was a little bit less scared and a little bit less bought in than I would have been with a little bit more cinematic language. Like, I'm acknowledging the effectiveness of music stings and camera work and intentional lighting. Not that this would have been a better film with that, but that I found myself at a point, like, the level of realism this achieved, like, especially because I'm aware, like, I'm still aware this is a movie. This wasn't so realistic, it convinced me that it's really happening.
Right.
And if it did that for you, because you're a Brit in the 90s, it does achieve that kind of next level. But for me, if I'm just saying, like, someone asks me, like, should I watch this or should I watch Grave Encounters? I'm like, Grave Encounters was probably scarier. Right? And it's like...
I would go as far as to say, like, Late Night with the Devil is a better movie.
Yeah, and I probably enjoyed it more.
It has... Like, I enjoyed this more, personally, but Late Night with the Devil has character arcs. It has more elaborate production behind it. Like, it's more of a movie. If someone's grandma needs a movie to watch...
So you have to know what you're signing up for.
Yeah, this is almost more of, like, an art exhibition or a performance art. Or I want to comment on what you have to say, but it's literally my critical review. So It's a good segue unless you have more points
No,
on
that's.
this.
I think that's good. Like I think that's Go for it. Let's get into the
'cause
reviews.
What you were saying is exactly what I was going to talk about with reviewing this film is really hard because if I'm reviewing this film critically as a piece of horror history in the context of when it came out for the balls it had, this might be in like an A+ in terms of it is in the Horror Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
It deserves its medals, its roses. But does that make it a good movie? Does that make it like the things that a movie has to be good? So like my critical review, is it for the significance of the film, how it's placed in history, or is it just based on the raw quality, the acting, the editing? That's really hard. So how I've kind of tried to settle this is critically, I'm going to give it a B+.
Okay.
I think that's a reasonable review of how good this film is with no context, just as a horror movie. But personally, I'm going to give it an A.
Okay.
Because I think that captures more of the essence of it and the weird nuance and all the weird history tying up. I love this movie. It's a comfort film. I watch it every Halloween. I just have this on in the background, even better than most background films because it literally feels like the news. Like, I love it. As a movie, I don't even know how to rank it, but I think it's solid, B+-ish, but as a personal, I'm going to give it an A, and I think that's a fair way to kind of balance out how weird it is to place this film in history.
I agree. It is a tough thing to place, but where I ended up coming down with it is that so personally, I'm going to say B+. I think and that's kind of what I was speaking to, that I did really enjoy watching it, but I think like if I'm going to go watch this, or am I going to go watch Oculus? Am I going to go watch Hell House? It's like I probably want to watch the one that is a little bit more of an actual cinematic experience. Sure. That I think it's just more of like a complete meal, and what I'm gonna do to avoid like penalizing this movie unnecessarily for that. Critically, I am gonna give it an A+.
Nice.
If I just,
we kind of did the opposites.
Yeah, we did. But like, I'm just gonna sit down and say, what is a mistake that this movie made?
Yeah.
It set out to do something and it achieved it more. It was a narrow goal, right? Not like a narrow goal, but like it's a very specific thing they were trying to achieve, and they achieved the living hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like they did such a good job at something that no one's ever done before. Like I think an art
since.
Yeah. An art piece is a great way to put it. This felt like performance art. This is like what, in a lot of ways, I would say that like it does feel like you're watching art when you're watching this, because it is like, it's a commentary. It's so outside of Hollywood. It's someone's singular vision. It's using the medium of film to do something so creative, challenging your preconceived notions and like causing a conversation. And it just achieved so highly at everything it was trying to do while being a good movie, right?
Yeah, still entertaining.
It's a good movie, but they weren't setting out to make Citizen Kane.
No.
This was exactly as good as it needed to be to achieve this unconventional thing it was trying to achieve. And I look at it, I'm like, this is an A+. They absolutely smashed it out of the park with what they were trying to do here. And I would call it a B+ just as a sit down and watch, but like, they did great. It's
well,
so
I'm
good.
not going to argue. I think either your personal or critical need to be an A or A+, and then the other one could be your weird justification one. But it's just one of those movies.
It's great. I had such a great time watching this, and I would also say that it's remarkably accessible for something so like out of the mainstream. Like I would almost give this like, this is very specific, but like if my like cousin, right, or like someone told me like, I like movies, but I want to watch something more like out of the mainstream. I want to get into like film as artistry. I don't want to watch something like black and white, subtitled, or 4 hours long. This is a great place to go for like, here's what else you can do with the medium.
Yeah, here's some other stuff going on.
And you're going to enjoy it, and it's short.
Yeah, but it's not so inaccessible that they'll be like, what the hell did you tell me to watch? Right?
Yeah.
It's still, that's a good show.
And you said it's an art piece, and I think that's kind of why. That's kind of a piece of it. And then we're circle back around, I suppose, to MVPs.
MVPs, I'm just going to go Parky.
Yeah.
I think you could give it to a lot of people. There's many MVP candidates for this. Obviously, the creator is
Stephen Volk.
Yeah, like he was kind of the mastermind. You could give it to him. Sarah was fantastic. But Parky brought the legitimacy. He's the Jeb Krieger of Ghostwatch.
He's the Jeb Krieger.
He brought the legitimacy to it throughout the whole thing that cemented it and made it feel real. And he was like the anchor for the whole film. And if that host role didn't feel 100% genuine, everything else might feel less genuine as a result. I think all that genuineness starts with him. He opens the film and he closes it perfectly. So Parky, I didn't know you before. Everyone's parents and UK people probably do. He did a bang-up job in Ghostwatch, so he's my MVP.
And I think if I were being truly objective and running a scoreboard, I would give this to Stephen Volk because he probably did all the work to make this into something special. But I'm going to stick with what I originally wrote down, which is Brid Brennan, who played Pam.
Okay.
I just think she was so far above replacement level in that Lake Mungo kind of way where every time she was on screen, I'm like, God damn, she is putting on a performance.
No.
That does not break my immersion, but I'm just riveted watching her every time she talked. And that's the Green Corner. Bye, everyone.